Hi everyone, in this video series we're covering how the chess pieces move, and in this video we're going to look at how kings move. So the way in which the king moves is very simple. It can move one square in any direction all the way around it, like so drawn by these arrows. So we can make an example of a king move here with the white king. We'll move one square backwards so that the king has now moved from d4 to d3. So that's the very simple way in which the king can move. However, there are some exceptions to this moving rule depending upon the situation. So the first exception to this rule is that the king can never move into check. So let's imagine that the black king steps one move up the board towards the white king so that it's now white's move again. If white wanted to move the king one step to the left onto the c3 square, white wouldn't be able to legally make this move because the black rook on c8 is looking down this file all the way to the c1 square. And that means that the white king can never cross this c file because it would be placing itself into check. So if I try and make this move now, the move's rejected because it's an illegal move. For this same reason, the king wouldn't be able to step up the board in this position and go one step closer to the black king so that the two kings were in effect touching. And again, this is because the two kings would then be checking one another. They would be perpetually in check. So again, if I try to make this move, it's rejected as an illegal move. So given that the white king can't move to c3 or d4 in this position, white decides to make a move king to e3. It's now black to move, and black decides to give a check with his rook on the e8 square. The white king is now in check from the black rook, and so white is forced to move his king to escape from that check. In other circumstances, it could be that the piece which is giving check could be taken, or the check could be blocked by another piece. But in this circumstance, white is unable to do either of those two things, and therefore he's forced to move the king. So in this position, white decides to move his king to the f3 square in order to escape the check of the black rook. The final way in which the king can move is called castling, and this is where the white king castles to safety into the corner of the board. So if we look at an example of castling kingside here, it's white to move. White picks up the king on e1 and moves it 2 squares to the right onto the g1 square, and when the king is dropped, the white rook then lands on f1 to the left of the king. So white has now castled the king. If you were making this move in over the board chess, then you would need to move the rook yourself. So you would pick up the king first and then move the rook second. And it's important to play the move in this order because otherwise your opponent might think that you're looking to move your rook rather than castle your king. The other way in which white can castle is by castling the king to the queen side. So to castle queenside, the white king moves 2 spaces to the left this time rather than the right, and the rook now moves so that it is on the right hand side of the king once again. The difference between castling kingside and queenside is when castling queenside, the rook has now moved 3 squares to the right hand side, whereas when you castle kingside, the rook only moves 2 squares to the left. Guys, I hope you found that video helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. If anything isn't clear, then drop comments down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And don't forget to check out the other videos in the series where we go through how all of the pieces on the chessboard move so that you can start playing more chess and having more fun. Thanks very much. See you on another video.